Am I the astronaut for entertaining my niece's weird cake request despite her mother's wishes? A cake story. Hells yes. I, female 42, am an aunt to a female 15 girl who we'll call Lacey. Lacey is, well, a weird teenager. I love her to death, but she's definitely unique. She's in this phase where she cuts up dolls and builds her versions of them with different heads and limbs and stuff like that. Like the kid Sid from Toy Story. Her mom doesn't really care for that kind of stuff. She keeps calling Lacey demented and creepy for doing stuff like that. I think Lacey is just going through an edgy time in her life. She's not doing any harm. She's just expressing a weird inner art form or something like that. But her mom doesn't like it. Growing up, I was a bit more interested in art, and her mom was always a little bit closer to the by-the-book path. Lacey's 15th birthday was coming up, and she made an interesting cake request when I asked what kind of cake she wanted. I'm usually the family's glorified baker and occasional photographer. She wanted a chocolate cake with red blood-like frosting and a doll head as the centerpiece for the cake. Yeah, I know, but who am I to judge, I thought. So I decided I'd embrace her weird idea and make the cake for the kid. Her mom was not having it. She berated Lacey for being freaking weird and wanting a doll head cake. She forbid me from making the cake too. Well, as my sister should have probably expected, when you forbid me from doing something, I'm gonna do it. So I made Lacey her doll head cake and brought it for the party. The whole family was, well, intrigued by the cake and kept eyeing it and studying it. My sister was fuming, but she didn't want to make a scene. Lacey was happy. After the party, my sister told me I wasn't allowed to make any more cakes for her entire household. I get that, fair enough, but Lacey was overjoyed and gave me a big hug. Honestly, that was enough for me. I'll be the cool aunt who makes doll head cakes for my weird niece. Am I the astronaut for doing this? Hell no. No, and good for you. Kids get to a point. I am happy to see a kid embracing their creativity and exploring it, because so many don't. So many kids are so afraid of being perceived as weird or different that they will never even explore that side, which is a shame, because there's so much creativity there that hasn't been ruined by the adult world yet. And I think if kids are given that freedom to explore, you should. And if they show an interest in exploring it, you should encourage them. I wish our kids explored their creative sides more. I wish, but I think you get kids who are like, well, other kids my age, they do this and this and this, and they don't do this kind of thing. All the more reason to get into that kind of thing and explore it. Why would you want to do the same thing as everybody else? I'm not saying do it because it's different, but saying do it because it feels right to you and you have a passion for it. Get into it. It's cool. Lindsay, people actually make financial means remaking dolls. I don't think it's weird. Yeah. And you know what? In 2024, you can get into any kind of niche thing that you want, right? And like you said, I'm sure there's a market for that. So rock and roll. Let her go through the phase. And you never know, being supportive during this phase could lead to her having a career as an artist or something like that. It could be, it could really, you made her feel seen, number one, which I think is huge for a kid, especially a kid who's trying to embrace their creative side. A kid who is trying to embrace her creative side while the mother is actively trying to suppress it. This is a win. W. Creativity is one of those things that you can't put into boxes, right? Like, it comes in many, many, many forms. So encourage it. It's awesome.